Everybody, welcome to Stockradar Stocks on the Move for another week. Today's date is the 27th of the 7th, 2023. My name is Richard Lee and I'm managing stockradar.com.au website for you. I had a week off last week, was in hospital having an op. This will be on for a couple of weeks yet. A bit of repair work for the shoulder, but we're muddling along with one arm at the moment. So firstly, let's get into the stock opportunities. Where do we find them? So I'm going to give you an idea a bit about how we can find them on Stockradar, those ones that are lurking and ready to move. So we'll have a quick look at that later on. Firstly, let's get to the top 10 trend intensity rankings for the week. First off, we've got good old AGL sitting at the top there. That is just one of those mighty trends that we absolutely love because this is what delivers our big profits, and it's just gone rocketing through that, and we might have a quick look at the chart of that later on. IAG is jumping on the bandwagon, which is a good one. Another little stock, MGF. Magellan Global Fund. Then we've got QBE, BLD, CSR, those stocks. So it's a bit of a smattering there, but some of those sectors have been focusing on insurers, builders, and a little bit of tourism there are the ones we've been looking at. So you can see Magellan Global Fund there is doing very well, sneaking under the radar for the Magellan Group. But it is a global fund and its trend intensity rating is 10. It's had a nice breakout, and you can see there it's moving along very nicely indeed. Okay, so let's get to the top. To the Dow Jones for this week. Firstly, well, we worry, and still these US markets keep going higher and higher and higher. And even the Dow Jones now, it's broken this big level here that we had across here, which was holding the stock down for quite some time there. Sorry, let me get rid of that bit. And we can move this one up here. So this area here was blocking off for quite a while. It's now got through there and we're challenging the highs. Good volume, good momentum. It looks set to challenge the highs, if not go past. Okay, the S&P again, it's looking similar. Strong, nearing the highs. Plenty of volume, plenty of momentum. No reason to doubt anything there. The Nasdaq is similar again. It's got a little bit further to go. It came down a lot further, but we've got some great volume in these markets. We sent a bit of a selling test here last week. Didn't dent the price. That's what we like. Everything else looks pretty good on those overseas markets. Okay, so we go to commodities. A little bit different here. We've got copper still struggling with its downtrend, trying to break it, can't do it. Bit of a battleground down here, flat momentum, so really nothing for us there. Gold doesn't seem to want to roll over and die. It's holding up really well, surprisingly enough. So we'll just have to, again, we have to be patient and wait on this one. We're out of most of our gold stocks. If it runs through, it may well go higher, or the Australian dollar collapses, whatever happens. But the US gold price is flat at the moment. Okay, then we go to crude, which is a little bit better this week. We've seen this market start to turn. We've seen some good support here, which held since about March this year. It's tested numerous times and doesn't want to go through there. It's now going to try the upside. So if we just blow this up a little bit, we can see what's happening here. We're starting to break below this trend line, moving average, and we've got some horizontal resistance line up a bit high up around here at R1 to get through. But we've also got some very nice volume appearing here, which is a pretty good sign. So Brent crude may well be on the turn, finally at last. There you go. So that's the commodities and the overseas indices. We can now have a look at the ASX 200. It also is starting to look fairly interesting. We've had this big area here that we've isolated last week. This big area that's been sitting in and been around, rotating around 7,000 for the last 24, 36 months. Now trying again hard here. We've got momentum neutral just ticking up. And we've got the index now starting to push higher. A couple of stocks in there looking a bit better. A couple of those leaders, BHP, CBA, starting to knock this one higher a little bit. But we've still got to get through get out of this big ellipse area here we've been stuck in, and get up and test these highs at 76.29. So it's certainly on the cards, there's no doubt. Sentiment is cautious, and the markets are strong. So it's been a bit quiet here, I know, but the overseas markets have certainly been very strong indeed. Okay, so that's really the ASX 200. We're now going to have a look at the stock pick count. It's now up 1 to 45, still weak breadth of 183, 35 stocks of 160 stocks covered, 10 ETFs of 23. So 35 stock picks, there's some good ones in there for you, and we're looking at a few more today that we may well be going to look at as future runners. In the newsletter this week, which comes out later this week, I've got about 5 or 6 stocks there that I think are looking ready and ripe to run this market if it runs high. So make sure you catch on to that. Okay, so that's the Stock bit count, the portfolio update is pretty well flat all round. We've picked up a couple in the energizers there, but there's the conservative is 7 out of 20, 8.8%. Energizer 4 out of 5, which is our main one. It's 80% equity, so we just got room for one more there. And then we've got the Energizer 10, which is 7 out of 10 at 70% equities, 30% cash. It's just humming along quite nicely, that one there. And then the two more recent Energizers, still doing okay in this market. We're still having a go, which we always will do. So we've got another couple of stocks put in there. So 4 out of 5 there. So they're 80% equities, 20% cash. So that's the portfolio update as of Monday this week. Okay, so now what I want to look at, we can get into a few stocks if you like. We looked at a few of those builders last week, CSR, JXX Building, all doing pretty well, and Fletcher Building, which is now broken higher, and looking pretty good. Now, the first stock, okay, we always look at a trend reversal. A beautiful trend reversal here for AGL, and we get the trigger here, and it breaks high and zooms high here. So it's gone from about $9 up to about $12 in a very, very short period of time from the start of May. So that's been a beauty, AGL. It may go further. It's still got momentum. It's still got plenty of volume there. No reason to doubt this. But we've got in a good point down here with a nice little break, and we've got a good signal here. So AGL, a nice trend reversal, and this is what will happen quite often. Not all the time, but quite often. When we do get these ones, it's important we make money out of them. Okay, so that's AGL. On the other side of the trend reversal, we've looked at Xero before. It's also been a very good performer. We had a beautiful, nice little trend change down here. We had it was all a bit separated actually, because we had the average, the trend line down here, the average here, and we didn't actually get the trigger till up about here, which is fine. We're conservative. We wait for everything to be in our court before we buy, and certainly we've got a good kick high on this one pretty well straight away. It had a big 50% correction, Xero. It came down a long way from its highs. Got a little bit overblown maybe at the top there, but probably got a little bit underdone down here, as the markets do, exceeding the upside, exceeding the downside, come back and have another go. And it's just a life cycle of a stock and how they work. But for the moment, we're on the up for Xero. Trend intensity rating is 8, so everything looks pretty good there. And we've had a nice little entry there to lock in some profit there. So our stop will keep rising above the lows here at the moment to make sure we lock in any profit there. Okay, so now we go to IAG, another one which has run on. We had a little bit of a hiccup here, and we did have a try here, and we got stopped out, but we've got into it again, and it's now moving higher again. And IAG is a very good looking stock. It's a very nice looking base pattern here. Plenty of upside potential on this one. It came down an awfully long way, and we've had a really good base. We've got some great volume down here. We've got some great momentum down here. It's above the average. The trend is up. It's a trend intensity rating of 10, IAG, and looking very nice indeed. Okay, I've got some other prospects in there. We had one come in a couple of weeks ago, Net Wealth, and there's about 3 other ones there at the moment that I'm looking at on Stockradar that are looking like potential trend reversals about to happen, but you have to go to Stockradar to find out what they are. The new high, I said before, IAG has created a new high. We've also got QBE at the moment, which just continues to surprise us. So the insurance stocks are surprising us on the upside and doing quite well. It's a bit of a jumpity one, but it's still going higher and making new highs, and it's breaking clear of a 7-year high here, which is a really good sign for QBE. So the trend intensity rating is 10. Volumes are all very healthy. Momentum's okay. It's steadied off a little bit, which just means the uptrend continues at a steady rate and doesn't go exponential, okay? So with steady rate here, this can go flat forever for all I care, because that means the stock is still going up. Okay, so QBE, trend intensity rating of 10. If it stops in place to lock in the profit from back down here, but it's all looking pretty good. And again, it's a simple, it was a simple new high, and we've got to break above it, and that's how that one worked. Okay, so that's just a couple of stocks for you. We had a new stock come in on a new high, which is the REA a couple of weeks ago. We've got about 4 or 5 new stocks in there that I'm looking ready to set, looking to trigger new highs there. I'll look at a couple of them in the newsletter this week, but there's some great prospects there for stocks to go for a run. Okay, now just a couple of stocks I want to have a little look at. I know they were favourites a while ago, but I just thought I'd go back and have a quick look at them. Whitehaven Coal for a start. We can see what's happened here. It had a huge, beautiful rally, but once it stopped, it stopped. We had a big kick down. It had a meagre attempt at the highs again, and of course down. And we've come back from, this has gone from 11 down to just under $6. So it's had a fair correction for that one. The trend intensity rating is -7. That's as of last week. Now we have had a tick up this week. Okay, we're getting a bit of break above the moving average. Not a lot of volume, not a lot of momentum. Certainly not a buy on our books at the moment. We may get a relief rally here, which may move up into this zone. But for the moment, Whitehaven coal, the trend is out until it makes a new high or does a completed trend reversal down the bottom here. Stay neutral on Whitehaven coal, no matter what anyone says. Similar picture with New Hope. We can see that every stock looks the same but different, and this one looks basically the same, but it's a little bit different. We've got a good little support level appearing down here at 470. It's trying the upside at the moment. We've got a little bit of volume, nothing significant compared to the selling, and momentum is still weakish, turning it up a little bit. So again, we may get a bit of a rally here, but for the moment, trend intensity is still rating at -7. So those stocks for me are still a no price-wise. Price says it's going down still, may have a little bit of levitation for the moment, but I would be staying away from those stocks for the moment. The glory days might be over for the moment unless we see a new high. Okay, so that's a couple of the energy stocks. I've also got Worley in here this week, which has been a really nice slow riser after this big break of this big resistance level we had back here, which I identified a few while ago. It's probably 1, 2, 3, 4, almost a 5-year trading range, or sorry, new resistance level, which is now starting to clear through, as we can see. And if I blow this up a little bit so you can have a bit of a look at the volume and things, we can see that for the moment the volumes have been pretty good here. Green bars through this area as it's tested this level here. The upside have been attracted by expanding volume. We've had a couple of selling tests which have been pretty well swept aside. Momentum is good, moving average is good. So for Worley, it all looks pretty good to me at the moment. So we just hang on to that and raise our stops basically. With Worley, it continues high through this high, and I guess those highs at $20 are probably going to be, or just above $20, are probably going to be a possible target for Worley for the moment. Okay, so that's Worley. That's looking pretty good. So there's some great stocks for you. You don't need a lot to make money. You just need a few stocks. There's a couple more we want to have a look at. I looked at TPW, Temple and Webster last week, and we're looking at Kogan this week. They both had huge falls, huge collapses. This one went from 25 down to about 2, so you can work out the percentage on that one there. It's pretty big. But now it's in a good accumulation pattern. We had our uptrend, our distribution phase up here. Then our downtrend, now our accumulation pattern through here, and now we move into uptrend phase. So if we just look at this now, we can see how Kogan is now starting to move higher quite quickly. I've got some good volume here, momentum is good. So to me, that looks like everything is soundly based this rally, and I'll continue to run with this and continue to move my stop up, and it's predetermined distance behind the last weekly price. So that's really what Kogan's looking like. Same as Temple and Webster, both looking interesting at the moment. And one stock I have looked at a few times, again, which is nearly, it's just testing and threatening and challenging and almost getting through, but not quite getting through. Hello World. We've looked at Flight Centre over the last couple of weeks. We've looked at Webjet. We've looked at some of these tourism stocks. Qantas had a run, seems to run out a bit of puff at the moment. But, there's some of these stocks, they're starting to motor. Some haven't really gathered much. And Hello World has had a big base here. It had a long downtrend there, as you can see, from up over $6. It got down to 150 just below, and now we have this beautiful accumulation pattern here, which now, if it breaks above here, that gives us good leverage to see a rally. So we've seen the switch start around here, and we've seen the volume start to pick up around here, and we get a confirmation up here. So I'm always conservative. I'm always making sure all those odds are in my favour before I have a go. And to me, above this area here, around $3, is probably what is going to trigger further rises for Hello World. So that's what those stocks look like. Gone through a few stocks for you, not a huge amount this week, but there's, again, trying to focus on the quality of what we've got is the most important thing indeed when we're looking at our stocks. Okay, so I haven't had a lot of time to prepare this week. Just got out of hospital, so I've just a fairly quick sort of overview for you today. As I said, the market's looking okay to me. There's some good stocks in, and not a lot, but there's some there. And because there's not a lot of stock picks, that means there are potentially a lot of stocks could come on board. And so our neutral zones are starting to get a bit fatter in our trend intensity on Stockradar. Our stocks can move out of that downtrending zone, move into a neutral zone, and hopefully move up into the trending zone. So that's what the stocks looks like at the moment this week. I just really wanted to talk to you a little bit about where we find these stocks. Now, stock opportunities, where do I look when I go to look for stock opportunities? Somebody says to me, what's your best opportunities? I always go to the neutral zone in the trend intensity column. So you can see here in the trend intensity column for the consumer discretionary, we've got 3 greenies, we've got a few neutrals and a few no thank you very much. So these ones are out down here, they're red, they're downtrending, they're going nowhere. I'm so not interested in them whatsoever. Then stocks that move up into this area here, whether it be Revel, Flight Centre, there's a couple in here that I'm actually going to look at, as I said in the newsletter this week, that are not just ones here, but some of the other sectors that have moved up into this neutral zone, and this is where they lurk, the ones that are about to run, the ones that are about to break higher, okay? So in this instance here, the trend intensity is basically one is neutral between -3 and +3, or they're really just waiting for that trend to flip from down to up to give it a positive rating. So that's what we're waiting for. It could be a new high, it could be a trend reversal. But that's what I do. This is where I look for my stock opportunities, and this is where they come from most of the time, because as you find, I think I've explained to you before, the trend intensity works, and the stocks tend to move in these cycles of trend, distribution, downtrend, accumulation, uptrend. So they tend to move through the trend intensity cycle during that from downtrend into neutral, into the strongly trending zone, then back to the neutral, and then back to the downtrending zone, and they go through the cycle the same way as a stock cycle does. So that's how I use that, and that's how it gives you an odds-on guide as to where it's going to go. Okay, so that's all I've really got for you today. As I said, ASX stock opportunities. Now you do know where to look, so go and have a look at some of those green zones. Excuse me, see what you can find, and you'll probably find a few little gems in there. Go look out for the newsletter this weekend. That's going to have a few in there. Some stocks set to settle, I would say, we'll call them. Okay, so look, that's a short one today. I'll be in this for a couple more weeks yet. But I'll still be coming to you hopefully every week. So I hope you've enjoyed today, and that's all I have for today. Stay safe, watch your trends, heed your stops, give me a call if you need any help, and I look forward to sending you some more new insights into next week, and who knows what will be next week. Maybe higher, maybe lower, we'll have to wait and see. Thanks very much.